Hello to my subscribers and everyone interested in classic style, Renaissance style painting. I'm making this video just to clarify some of the doubts people have about Renaissance style painting. How you achieve such movement in the figures, how you achieve such richness of color, and in general, how did the masters of the Renaissance painted. My particular preference and my particular style is that of the Venetian school of Renaissance artists. I don't follow the Roman style or the Florentine style. Like the Florentine style would be Leonardo da Vinci's style, or the Roman style is very similar to the Florentine style, which is the style of Raphael or even Michelangelo when he painted. I'm talking about painting here, not any other form of art. Alright, so my preference is the Venetian style. Particularly, I'm talking about Titian here. This is the style of Titian. This is how Titian painted, and Titian's style was Venetian. What is the difference between Venetian and Florentine style? Florentine style, you draw first after you have decided what you're going to paint. After you make your composition, you draw all the elements of the painting first on the panel or the canvas. Then you start filling in within those lines, you start filling in the paint, the color. So you draw first, and the more specific with your drawing, the better, the clearer the paint is going to be, the more detail and everything. But with the Venetian style, you're freer, you have more freedom. You paint faster because you don't spend hours drawing first. And Titian used to say either you draw or you paint. You can't be doing both. Are you a drawing artist, or you're a painter? So he was a painter. He wasn't a drawing artist. He composed first, don't get me wrong, on a piece of paper first. He decided, for example, this kind of compositions, he drew it first, but that was a creation part, the composition part, right? And then he started to paint his composition on the panel or the canvas. In that case, Titian always painted or preferred canvas, huge canvases. I prefer wood panel. I don't like painting on canvas. But anyway, after Titian had his composition, he already decided what he's gonna paint. He just went ahead and started applying painting to canvas right away. So this is how you do it. Once you have a clear picture in your head of what you're gonna paint, and then you start silhouetting the elements, every single one of the elements of your paint or your painting on the canvas or the panel. So you just get a big idea where you're gonna position every single one of the elements. Then the first step, once you have the background, for example, I like to paint the farther elements of the background. For example, here I started with the blue sky, and then came closer with the clouds, and then obviously that forest in the back is the next plane of the painting. Then this drapery, apparently these three figures are under canopy. I don't know, like a fabric, cloth style fabric. This is a blue drapery right there. This is a tree. You see the trunk of a tree right there. And then of course the darker areas is not black, flat black. It's like a more wooded area, maybe some rocks in the back. All right. So once you position your elements, and I will tell you how I start these faces, for example, right there. It's starting like this. With a brush, you apply the darker color of the element first. You just position that hand, in this case here, you position the hand here, and then the other arm right there, you position them first. with a darker color you're gonna use for that figure. In this case, she's a fair skin, blonde Saint Anne. So I'm gonna start with an orange for my darker color for her skin. So you position that element. And here, for example, I decided to make this video because people always want to know how do you start painting a figure, a human figure. In the Venetian style, again, going back to Titian and the Venetian style, this is how Titian painted a figure. This is how he started the child. Again, depending on the final color, final skin color you decided to give him on your painting, then you silhouette the painting, the figure with the darker color you're gonna use. This is a little bit more advanced. My child here, for example, is not just silhouetted. I'm already in the process of applying the brighter areas where the sun or the light hits his body first. In this case, I have my son right here coming from top right, so all the lighter areas are gonna be the areas that are lighted by my top right lights coming from top right. All right, so you have my brighter areas, like here, for example, on his arms. You can see that this structure here, this is gonna be just, this is the hand of the Virgin Mary, and his hands are over her, so over her hands, so don't get confused with that. And then, like I said, I started playing, and I always loved, this is how you get those effects that people love about the masters. You see how the arm seems to be in material, almost like a ghost, but you can see how delicate his skin is, especially in this area. Look, very, very transparent, almost a skin. He's fair skin, but his skin is gonna look like it's very delicate, like a baby's skin. So this is how you do it. And here in these dark areas where the other hand of the Virgin is gonna be covering the body of the child, so you get the three-dimensional effect just by doing that. All right. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Again, my style, for the record, is Venetian style. That's what I like, because I like painting fast. I don't like spending hours or too long in a painting, so I paint Venetian style. My favorite artist is Titian because he was the faster painting. His compositions are great, and I studied Titian for decades, and I finally got his style. The only difference is that like I said, I prefer wood panel. I don't paint on canvas. I don't like painting canvas. I feel that canvas drags down my brush, doesn't let me flow as I like on panel. Panel lets me paint faster right there. And I don't like to prepare my panel too much either, because I like how the wood grain gives me some texture. It helps me with the texture. Texture is very difficult to achieve in painting. That's why I don't prepare too much. As here you can see, that's gonna help me with texture. That's a Virgin. This is almost like the underpainting, because of course on top of this I'm gonna apply another probably 40 layers of oil paint, just finishing, making the painting more delicate. This is just the base. Pretty much, don't get confused. It's not a final painting. This is the underpainting. I still need to apply layer upon layer upon layer of oils and color until I finally get that realistic effect on my painting. Something like the feeling that you can reach out and touch these people in the paintings. That's my goal. I want to make them so three-dimensional, so realistic, that you feel that they're popping out of a bi-dimensional panel, and you almost feel like you can walk around and see them popping out of the painting. That's the mastery of the painter. You have to achieve that. After you're satisfied with that, then you say, okay, my painting is three-dimensional. That's what people like, the three-dimensionality of a painting. Oh, well, I hope you like my video here. I'm gonna try to make more, and this is for serious art students, very advanced. This is really not for the beginner or for somebody who's just looking for a hobby. This video is dedicated to those maybe professional artists, painters that were curious about how to paint in the Titian style, Venetian style. This is how you apply, you know, the bright areas. Again, this is just a underpainting in color. All right. But anyway, okay. If you have any comments, just leave them there, and subscribe, please. Share. I want you to share this because there's I've searched YouTube for videos about how to paint in the Titian style, and there's nothing. So I want to be the first one to teach people how to paint like Titian, all right, and get beautiful paintings. And since I'm talking about Titian, let me show you here